Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Well, I am at the Novi Golf Show, the biggest show in the world of golf. And unfortunately, I am talking today to Paul Albanese, one of the top golf course designers going in the business around the world. He's here, there, and everywhere, it seems like. And fortunately, he's done two terrific golf courses in Michigan, up in the Upper Peninsula. Just got a great award of the best, the National Golf Course Owners Association Award for the course up at Sweetgrass and Sage Run. Tell us about those, Paul.
Sure, Jack. Well, first of all, I got to say I'm just honored to be interviewed by Jack Berry. I mean, 30 years ago, I started in the business. This year will be 30 years for me doing golf course design. And when I started in this business, Jack was already a legend. And here it is 30 years later. So I'm thrilled to actually just be interviewed by Jack Berry, one of the best golf writers in the history of golf writing, really, right up there with Bernard Darwin and anyone you could think of. So thanks, Jack, for
Easy, Paul, easy.
thanks for interviewing me. Yeah, those two projects came up great. I've done a few more golf courses in Michigan, but those are my pair up there that have gotten some nice publicity. The National Golf Course Owners Association gave Sweetgrass the national award for the best golf course of the year this year, so that was quite a thrill. Yeah, I couldn't be happier, and both projects came out great. The owners are real happy in the fact that we've got two different styles up there of Sweetgrass and Sage Run, so golfers can head up there and have a diversity of experience. Sweetgrass is a much different course than Sage Run, and I think they're both very enjoyable, so we're real proud of that.
You got some water on the low one, and on the high one, on Sage Run, you've got that nice drumlin.
Very good, Jack. You remember my drumlin speech. Yeah, that we worked around a drumlin that I think is the focal point of Sage Run, and everyone seems to enjoy how we went up, down, through, and over that drumlin. And yeah, Sweetgrass has a little bit more water and marsh areas and wetlands, so yeah, I always call them red wine and white wine, so it depends on what flavor you like.
Well, that's for the indigenous tribe, Potawatomi up there?
Yeah, that's the Potawatomi tribe. Yep.
And you also did one for a tribe out in Nebraska.
Yeah, very good,
Just,
Jack. Good memory there.
Just south of the South Dakota line, right?
Yes, exactly. And from actually, you could see the South Dakota River, it was actually a river that divided South Dakota from Nebraska, and you could see it from the site if you got on the right spot of the site. And yeah, that was a great treat too. That piece of land is phenomenal out there in Nebraska. It's called the Tatanka Golf Club. It's also associated with a casino, the Ojai Resort. So if you ever get a chance to head out that way, that's a real treat. It's quite a difficult place to get to, but it's a destination, so it's worth getting out there.
Now, how did you wind up getting to Michigan from Cornell?
That's a good story, actually. It was back in 1991. And I looked around the world to try to do this profession, and because I knew I wanted to do it after I went to Cornell, and then I went to Harvard and got a master's degree, and I sent out my resume everywhere to every golf course architect in the world, and it was a recession at the time, and nobody was hiring. So I was getting a lot of really polite ding letters from really good architects. I kept them all in my files. I've got them from Robert Trent Jones and all the big names back in the day. They all said, "Thank you very much, Paul, but we're not hiring." One man gave me an opportunity to do this job, and it was Jerry Matthews, who everyone in Michigan knows. So Jerry gave me an opportunity back in 1992 to be an intern in his office, back when we used pen and ink and erasers, and we didn't use any computers at all. And Jerry gave me that opportunity for a summer, and then he hired me full-time in 92, and then it's been 30 years since. And I don't know if you probably are going to ask me this question coming up, but a really nice thing that happened in the last couple of years for me was I got to go back and collaborate with Jerry on a golf course out at Saskatoon. So we did 9 holes out there 2 years ago, and it opened up last year. And what a thrill it was to start with Jerry 30 years ago, then go on my way to do all these other things, and then to come back almost 30 years later and have an opportunity to design another course with Jerry. And we had such a fun time. That and stuff. And I think Art's done some stuff on that on his show, and it's really fun.
Well, we've certainly done a lot on Jerry, and more than 100 courses in Michigan that that he and his dad and his nephew have worked on. Said after Cornell, you went to Harvard, and then you wound up in Scotland. How did that happen?
I did, yes. Jack, you know my resume well. That's good. I remember sitting in my house, or my office actually, and I've always wanted to teach golf course design. And so I enjoy doing that, and I've always done lectures at MSU, or I've done some kind of teaching on the side. And I was looking for a reference from one of my former professors at Harvard for doing teaching. So I emailed her name was Beth Meyer, and I said, hey, I'm looking for a reference for trying to teach golf course architecture as I actually do golf course architecture. She wrote back and had a link to a job, and all it said on it was dream job, ? And it was for being the director of golf course design in Edinburgh, Scotland at the University of Edinburgh. And I couldn't believe it, and I went on the website, I met with them, and we had an interview just like over the phone, and that was like back in the early days of Skyping, so we had a Skype interview, and they invited me over, and before I know it, I was the director of golf course design in Edinburgh, Scotland. I couldn't believe it, and it was truly a dream job, truly.
You wound up like on top of whatever the castle is in town in Edinburgh.
I've been back so many times.
Yeah.
People would come visit me over there,
yeah.
and the first thing we would do is go visit the Edinburgh Castle. So I've seen
Right.
that tour many times.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country around there, and you stayed. What jobs did that lead to?
That really was helped me open up the international door to our firm. Actually, when I was over there, I met some gentlemen from Braemar Golf. And we ended up doing a collaborative project in Russia, of all places. Really, it's kind of a bizarre thing to say right now, but we actually did a job in Russia that opened the door to a job in Bulgaria. We did one and then we started doing work in Dominican Republic. And from there, that international exposure got me some work over in Asia. So I did a job in China, and we're currently doing a couple jobs right now in Vietnam.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Russia, and I just saw a story in Golf Digest yesterday about a 15-year-old boy from Ukraine who is a good junior golfer. He won in January. He was top 5 in 2 tournaments around Miami, the Orange Bowl and Doral, and he's won in different places around. And this kid. Here his country is under, in war. He managed to somehow see that he's a Rory McIlroy fan, and he got on and he saw that Rory was the first-round leader in the Arnold Palmer tournament.
Wow.
So there's, that you find golf around the world. And Vietnam, I mean, who would have thought that back 30 years ago?
Right. No, Vietnam has probably been the most developing golf country in the world lately. It really is, because it's kind of like the Caribbean for Southeast Asia. Everyone from Korea, China, they all vacation down in Vietnam now, and so the Vietnamese are catering toward that golf bug that the Koreans have and the Chinese have. So yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Well, you look at the LPGA, and it's almost like the LPGA was founded by the Korean League. There are so many good players there.
They have a very strong women's golf program in Korea. Yeah.
Well, now, one problem that you hear from women is that the course is too long. Or
It's true.
Now, what about tees? What's your thought on the tees? How many tees do you put on a golf course now?
We put as many as the client will allow us, really, because to me, the great equalizer in golf is tee placement. If you can have more tees on a golf hole or a golf course, the more golfers are able to play the golf course as designed. And especially now that there's such a big diversity between length of hitting the ball. The better golfers can hit the ball so much further than the poor golfers, much different than it was even 20, 30 years ago. So you need to have that many more tees now because there's such a disparity in hitting the length. And what we have found, and what I have found at the courses I've been working on, is that most of the forward tees are not forward enough based on how far people hit the ball.
Amen, amen, amen. I certainly believe that. Now, what about the 2 courses in the UP? How How many tees do you have on those courses?
Oh, Tony Mancia, the general manager there, and the golf pro Dave Douglas, and all the design team. We made sure we had at least 5 sets, and I think we actually have 6 sets on some of the holes. The scorecard is set up, I think, for 5, but really they wanted to make sure that any golfer that went up to the resort, whether you were a beginner or whether you were a pro, was going to have fun playing the golf course. So if you play the right set of tees, you should be able to play all those holes the way we designed them. Well, we've got some exciting stuff on the boards, actually. It's kind of exciting. We're going to be working up at Treetops, actually. So that's going to be some fun stuff to do with them in this coming year. We're looking at remodeling the Fazio course and also looking at their whole master plan for their resort. So they want to come back and become a premier destination in golf more than they already are. So that's going to be fun to work with the Treetops group on that. We're going to be over at Lake Forest Golf Course in Ann Arbor with Gilda Johnson, and we're going to be trying to do a practice area for them, and as well as look at their golf course. So that's going to be exciting to look at them. We're going to be, where else? We're down in Grosse Ile. We're going to be finishing up Grosse Ile Country Club. And we got a few more weeks left, and we've got the bunkers. We've restored the bunkers at Grosse Ile to be very golden age Donald Ross. I don't know if you know, but that's a classic Donald Ross course, Grosse Ile Country Club. And we spent all of most of last summer, and a little bit this spring. We're going to make these bunkers have that same feel and style of the Donald Ross flavor. And so far, the members are thrilled about how it looks, and we're looking forward to finishing that up. We just finished a great project in Pennsylvania with Brad Klein, who's a colleague of yours. He's a golf writer. And Brad and I collaborated on another Donald Ross course there where we brought back the bunkers as well. And those bunkers are fantastic. So we're doing 2 Donald Ross courses, Grosse Ile and Kennett Square. We're also working at Dayton Country Club. They want to follow suit and also do the Donald Ross restoration type of project. So we'll be working down at Dayton all year too. So we got some good stuff coming up.
For Donald Ross.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And really thank God that, you know what really it is? Thank God that the golf industry has now understood what these classic architects did. Because we in the golf industry have made a little bit of a living off of bringing back Donald Ross designs, because in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, there really wasn't that appreciation for these old school guys.
Right.
So a lot of architects came in and did what they wanted to do, and really no fault to theirs that they were told to do that. Owners didn't really know what they had on their hands. And luckily, places like Grosse Ile Country Club now and Dayton Country Club recognize they have what I often consider a Picasso or a Van Gogh. It's like you find it in your attic and go, wow, is this a valuable painting by this guy? And we say, yeah, it is. Let's bring it back.
Well, that's what everybody seems to understand, that the old-timers really love to play the game.
Yes.
And it was more of a pick your spot around instead of just hit straight between the trees and there's green up there.
The old guys really understood strategy and how to make golfers think. And, studying the history of golf course design, we went through a phase in the late 1800s where it was just Victorian-style golf architecture, and it was very penal, and it was just simple, like what you just described. Just hit it straight, hit it on the green, and golf design wasn't very good. And then these guys came along in the early 1900s and started to understand what strategy meant. I mean, gentlemen like John Lowe and Horace Hutchinson, these guys really got it, and they understood it. And that's what gave us those golden age golf designs. And then we lost the luster of those over the years. So it's really fun to bring those back to what they were.
And back in those days, the trees weren't mature or anything. And people plant them and trees grow.
Thank you, Jack. Jack, I have to give that speech to a lot of memberships. And I don't hate trees. I love trees. But if you don't plant them in the correct place on a golf course, you need to manage them correctly. And sometimes that means actually having to take them down. And it's a sad thing. And I know memberships and clubs don't want to take their trees down. But if you have a golden age golf course, you have to look at certain tree management if you're going to bring back that original design flavor.
Well, it's a shame that's happened to Oakland Hills, that they go in there and Gil Hance took out a lot of trees that block the view of the clubhouse.
Yes, Gil did a fantastic job over there. That's a real testament to what we're trying to do in this industry with regard to the old style golf course design, is taking down the trees so you get the vistas. That was part of the design that Donald Ross and these classic golf architects did, was to get long vistas. And when you put the trees up, you've taken away their design vision. And now taking down the trees and getting these vistas back has been phenomenal. Dayton Country Club is a great example. We took a lot of trees down at Dayton. And now the same as Oak, we can see the clubhouse from all over the golf course. And from the clubhouse, you can see the entire golf course. And it's beautiful.
Well, they're getting, they're getting national tournaments at the clubs that are taking down some trees, and
yes,
let's see what we got here. Holy cow!
Exactly. Holy, we have a Picasso in front of us.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're keeping busy.
So am I. Yeah, it's fun to keep busy in this business.
It's Paul Albanese, who is one of the top golf designers in the world, and we are fortunate that we have him right here in Michigan. Thanks for coming in, Paul.
Jack, thank you. One of the best golf writers in the world right here, Jack Barry. Thanks, Jack.